And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Another reaction-based video. We're going to be watching a fiery debate between a conservative and a woke liberal. And it's safe to say, as always, the woke liberal does get destroyed. It's on the debate with regard to illegal immigration, something that's on the tip of most British patriots' tongue for the last few years. It's something that needs to stop. However, there's always one woke liberal that believes that it's perfectly fine and the country doesn't need borders and all of these sorts of things, so to speak. And they always need to be put in their place on live TV. Let's watch, react, but as always, guys, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. So have a watch of this.
The last government failed to get a grip of this. But this government has completely failed. We're now seeing a higher level of people coming in than ever before. It's only going to get worse, and now they're offering discounts and advertising. It's absolutely shocking. Shocking. And the British people have had enough. So Keir Starmer and his government, they're going to have to do something. Otherwise, they will have zero credibility. Now, they ditched the Rwanda policy. The Rwanda policy had its issues, and mostly because of the ECHR, which, by the way, I think we should leave that so that we can control these things for ourselves. But you can't go on like this. This is outrageous. We are actually allowing our country to be used and abused in a way that the British people are not going to tolerate for very much longer. So what's Labour going to do about it? They said they were going to smash the gangs. They failed to do it. They failed to dealing with all the issues surrounding this, and now it's getting worse.
So, yeah, Kieran, I mean, you know, this is getting ridiculous.
Smashing the gangs is a complete gimmick. We know that. We know that. We've known it for a long, long time. I think Keir Starmer stated that the Rwanda scheme was a gimmick. If you want to talk about a gimmick, it's smashing the gangs. I think nearly 10 months now into the job they are, Labour, and as you can see, the boat crossings are getting worse and worse and worse. And smashing gangs, no gangs have been smashed. So that is a huge gimmick. And I'm not a fan of the Tories, but we didn't get to see the Rwanda scheme really take shape. Again, I would like to see a deterrent. But yeah, have a listen to this woke liberal. As always, they always have an awful lot to say with regard to illegal immigration. Have a watch.
Ridiculous, right? It's costing the taxpayer billions of pounds. It's costing our country. It's an embarrassment for our country, really, to not be able to control our borders in such a small strip of sea. What do we need to do to stop this from continuing?
Well, first of all, just a factual correction. And I have no love whatsoever for Keir Starmer's Labour Party, but actually the year for the highest number of crossings in small boats was under the Tories. It was in 2022 and it was 46,000. So
I think there was a comparable month in February that was one of the highest since the crisis. But yes,
fair enough, but that's 1 month. Annually, the record number of crossings was 46,800 something.
At the start of the crisis.
In 2022, which was under the Tories. So let's just say that. And I want to come back to that point in a minute because this is a cross-party thing. Overall, and it probably won't surprise you, I want to reject the premise of the way that we're talking about this. And I do push back against the meal deal comparison. People going in those dinghies have had, in most cases, very, very difficult lives. And they
How do you know
are
that?
doing it. That's why I said in most cases. Well, because I don't know about you, Andrew.
Literally, I mean, this is disgusting. So this guy thinks that every single person that comes over on a dinghy has had a really, really hard life. Again, as we keep on saying with this, in terms of there is legal routes for asylum and all of these kind of things. Individuals coming over the sea, they're coming through the whole way through Europe. They're not, France isn't a war zone. Spain isn't a war zone. Central Europe is not a war zone. They're targeting the United Kingdom because of the benefits that come with it. So to say that they haven't had a hard life, yes, some of them probably have had a hard life. But there is legal routes to come into the country. And as stated, the UK is not a dumping ground. The rest of the countries within Europe, of course, are countries that are safe. So they're coming to the UK entirely.
But I don't
assumptions.
But sometimes it's fair to make assumptions. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I don't fancy climbing into a dinghy and crossing a freezing.
Well, why do they do it then? France is a perfectly safe country. Well, Italy's a safe country. Germany's a safe country. Why do they do it?
Now we're doing circular reasoning. I gave you the reason. It's because they're desperate.
But then why? So the reason for becoming a refugee and seeking safe shelter is to escape harm.
Yeah.
When you're in France, you're not at harm, are you? France isn't at war.
Yeah.
Germany's not at war.
Yeah.
Italy's not at war. So why risk your life to come to the UK?
So that's a separate point which we can come back to.
But it's not. You just said it was circular.
It's a separate point that we can come back to, but I'd just like to make this point first. 3 out of the 5 countries that produce the highest number of migrant crossings in the boats since 2018 have been either bombed or invaded by the UK and its allies since in the past 20 years.
We didn't bomb
Either bombed or
Albania.
invaded. That's why I said 3 out of the top 5. So Iraq, Afghanistan and Syria. So first of all, maybe, here's a novel idea, try bombing and invading fewer countries.
Hang on. Are you
clearly
seriously saying, because...
Do you think it's coincidence?
Are you seriously saying, because rightly or wrongly, Britain did take part in military engagement in
rightly
countries
or
like
wrongly, we just
Iraq
dismiss it like that.
and Libya and these countries.
Yeah.
Are you seriously saying, because of that, it's justifiable that these people should travel all the way across Europe, through France, in dinghies, over to the UK? You really think they're fleeing some... They're not. They're economic migrants, and they're coming here, and they shouldn't be allowed into this country. What needs to happen is a much tougher Rwanda-style policy. Anyone that tries to get
How did
into this
that work out for
country,
you last
because of the ECHR and the Human Rights Act,
but you exist within
Labour
a legal
brought the Human
framework.
Rights Act in.
One at a time.
If you come into this
exist within
country illegally, you don't come in, you're sent out immediately.
Okay.
That's the only policy that will work.
If I may make a few points. First of all, you have to operate within a legal framework, however much you might hate it when it suits you. So you can say, oh, that's because of the whatever acronym you want. You're going to have to operate within that framework unless you want to leave all of these organisations. Secondly, it's astonishing to me that you would say, do you really think it's connected? 3 out of the top 5 of the countries that are producing people in small boats are countries that we have invaded or bombed in the past 20 years. If you don't think that there's a causal relationship there, I'm astonished.
What about the Albanian migrants? What about the Iranian migrants?
Let me give you...
What about those? Because why is it that the highest group of people is from Albania then? If they're not fleeing war... Why are they coming here? They're coming here for the economics, aren't they? The other question I pose to you is, there wasn't mass immigration from Britain when we were bombed by the Nazis. There wasn't mass immigration from Germany, frankly, after World War II. These arguments are just faux pas. And actually, the people to blame here are those people who want to come and abuse... They're actually putting refugees at risk because they're actually...
Surely you must accept most of these people are economic migrants.
You're mediating this. You said you were going to come to me next.
Yes, yeah.
I insist that you do, and then we can come back to you, Andrew.
Go ahead.
So you've given me a lot of food for thought there. So, first of all, I'm sorry, but the Germany comparison, World War II comparison, is utterly ridiculous. Most working-age men in World War II were in other countries as soldiers. That's the first point to make. And if you want to compare the numbers of people leaving their countries during World War II to countries to numbers of people leaving
examples
now,
of UK, Germany, France.
It's not. Let me just spoiler alert: the numbers aren't going to look very good for you, right? That's the first thing. Second of all, again, I come back to my point. Oh, you mentioned Iran, right? Well, Iran has been under Western sanctions, crippling Western sanctions.
It's always our fault, isn't it, Andrew?
For 40 years. No, it's not always.
It's always our fault. They're a terrorist regime.
It's not always your fault. That's a dishonest mischaracterisation.
Now, whatever you want to say with regard to, I mean, he came back with that counter saying 3 of the 5 that are coming, or 3 of the 5 countries that the majority of these people coming across the English Channel we've bombed or invaded over the last few years. But again, the point is with regard to that, I mean, he didn't answer his question. Why are they coming to the United Kingdom? Why are they not staying in France? Why are they not staying in Germany? Why are they not staying in all of the other countries that are safe within Europe? I always want to put that argument to a woke liberal, but they never seem to answer that question as to why are they choosing the United Kingdom in particular when they're going through the whole way through of Europe and it's completely safe.
Mischaracterisation.
We live in a democracy. Kieran, you stand on a platform at an election with that approach, with your ideas, and see how many votes you get.
Yeah.
The British public have had enough. We are not prepared any longer to see our country have people coming in illegally, trying to become part of our country, all the benefits this country gives people, on the basis that they are fleeing persecution. Genuine people we've always taken in, but these people are not genuine. Most of them are coming here purely to benefit themselves economically, illegally entering our country, and there is no public support for this.
Right.
We have to stop it, and we have to clamp down on it very quickly, because the British public have run out of patience.
Andrew, instead of filibustering, can I just make one point? You're a Tory, you're in power, and you didn't get a hold of this. And Labour aren't getting a hold of it either. So what does that say about the political class?
Guys, I'm sorry.
Now, yeah, I mean, look, listen with that. That's it was some good points from the Conservative, which it pains me to say, you know, in terms of the Conservative, look, they did have time. Why didn't they address this problem over the last 14 years? But I mean, he's speaking sense now. That's the only point that the woke liberal, good point that he actually made throughout the whole debate, is that it's good to see that the Tory is talking the talk now, but they never walked the walk when they had the power to do so. So, yeah, I mean, this illegal immigration debate is always so fascinating for me, watching, you know, woke liberals or on the left, their counter argument with regard to it. You know, it's an illegal crime going to this country. You know, you're committing an illegal act, but these people just think that they should just be free to do whatever they want, have open borders, and just look at the stuff that's going on in Europe at this moment in time, mainland Europe, and they don't have the channel to sort of protect them. But that's what you're getting with open borders, and that's what will come if you just let everybody in. And again, they're currently getting their way, these woke liberals, because the Labour government aren't currently doing anything against illegal immigration, which is super frustrating. But yeah, a lot of good points there made by the Conservative, and the woke liberal, I don't really know what his point was, honestly. I think he was trying to explain as to why they're doing illegal immigration, or if he's a backer and a supporter of it. Regardless, he spoke a lot of waffle. It didn't really make sense. I don't know what his argument is as such, that they had a hard life. Yeah, a lot of people within the UK have had a hard life. It doesn't mean they get handouts. And my main point with regard to them coming through the whole way through Europe is to benefit themselves economically. It's never been about they're not in a safe place, otherwise they could stay in France. It's all about the economic benefits to them. You're not in harm's way in France. And I'll say it time and time again, you're in France, you don't need to cross that channel. You're already in safety. You're not in persecution at that moment in time. So it is just grifting and trying to get the economic benefits of being in the United Kingdom at the expense of our taxpayers. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on that debate. Let me know your thoughts on illegal immigration in general. And what's your thoughts? What do you think is the best solution to stop illegal immigrants coming into the United Kingdom? As stated, let me know in the thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.